Hey, this is Cindy, and we're going to do some yoga for flexibility in the hips. This is an area that gets a lot of us. We spend a lot of time seated as a society. We love our chairs, so we get really tight hamstrings, tight hips, and then we tend to have sore low back. So we're going to mainly focus on the hips, but of course we need to get the back and the hamstrings. So have a seat on your mat. And I say comfortable seated position, and that's going to be very different for everyone. I sit in this cross-leg position. I line up my legs in front of each other. You can tuck and sit them on top. You decide which one you like, and you're going to find it. If you need blocks and sit on blocks for some of this, you can, not all of it. So if your legs need to be out or one leg needs to be out for comfort, you're going to do that. All right, so we're going to sit up nice and tall. You're going to lift through your spine, lift through the crown, so slightly back. Don't lift the front of your head and lift your chin up. We want to keep the chin level, so think back, slightly back. And relax your shoulders. If you need to be a little fidgety, be fidgety, and then find that calm, that still. If you stack your hands and press your thumbs together and rest them in your lap, this is a calming mudra, a hand gesture. And you can sit here and allow your body to relax. If you like more focused energy, you can go into a more traditional mudra. Put your pointer and thumb together and rest your palm on your knees, palms up. So this is a focused energy, concentrated energy in a receiving. Same thing, palms down is focused energy in a grounding mood. So it's going to change for each of us. All right, in the mudra you chose, or just simply rest your hands in your lap. Start with your deep breathing. Big inhale, open the chest. Let the chest move. Let the side rib cage move. Let the belly move. Exhale, feel all of that come back into place. It's super important to always consider your breath as you start a yoga class. Even if we're not going to move with our breath, coming to our breath, bringing awareness to our breath is so important to getting focus, bringing that mind-body connection into place, allowing the body to relax. Big inhale, big exhale. We have a couple more of these deep breaths. Two more. Last big breath. Keep your breath going as deep as you can manage it. If you slip away from concentrating on it, it's no big deal. Just come back to it. We're going to start in this cross-leg position, but our hands are on our knees, just holding onto our knees. We're going to make circles with our body. We're going to start to make circles, thinking cat-cow. The chest pushes forward. We move into a C-shape cat. We round through our upper back. Another C-shape and come around. So you want to be moving your entire spine. A lot of times what happens is people will go real stiff and they're just like a wooden spoon in a pot. So I need you to kind of undulate. I need you to let the whole spine move. Just kind of working out any stiffness that might be there from sitting in a position for a long time. We got one more turn or circle, and then we're going to stop and do the same thing the other direction. Take the same thing, opposite direction. Allow the body to move through that range of motion, especially the spine. It gets so stiff from just sitting or standing. Our jobs keep us in the same space for a long time. We just need to move. And take one more big turn or circle and come to center. All right, so hands on the floor this time. We're going to inhale, lift up. Exhale, back down. Leave your right hand down. Lift your left arm up. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, fold. So you're leaning into that right hand, but you're reaching your left arm over, finding that stretch through your left side body. Inhale, come up. We'll switch sides. Inhale, that right arm high. Fold. over towards the left, opening up right side body. Inhale, come up. We'll do it again. Left arm up. Exhale, fold. We'll add in a diagonal. So come up, hold that center, rotate. Think shoulder towards the knee. Press over at that diagonal. Remember, you're pressing in the right arm so you don't fold too much. Inhale, up. We'll switch. Now your right arm comes up. You fold to the side. You'll inhale back center. Now we'll go diagonal. Take that right shoulder over the left knee, pressing into your left arm for support. Inhale back up and both hands down. Switch the cross of your legs. I call this the awkward cross because it's not your preferred cross. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, hinge forward. We're going to come forward with a lifted spine, so don't round. You're going to bring your hands to the floor because you just run out of space. And then when you're there, you're going to use your breath to deepen within the pose. Inhale, lift up through the spine, through the crown, getting long. And then as you exhale, I want you to bring your belly closer to the tops of your thighs. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, deepen. Now, the only one who's really turning their head to look at the floor is the one who's touching their legs with their torso. So if you're way high, like most of us are going to be, don't round in to get your face down. This isn't about your face. This is about the hips. You're hinging to come forward at the hip. You want to feel the stretch back here. If you round just to create a shape and not hold your stretch or get the stretch, you're mimicking without understanding. And I need you to understand. We want the stretch in the hip, not the thoracic spine. Come on up. Switch back to our preferred cross and find that comfortable seat. We'll do this again. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, hinge forward. Nice long torso, come forward. Bring the hands to the floor because there's an end to that flexibility. Inhale, lengthen. You're pulling the belly forward and the spine long. And as you exhale, you're pressing the body closer to your legs. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale, hinge forward. Feel this in your hips. If you round in your back, you're not going to feel it in your hips as much. You're going to feel it in your back too much. So don't let the ego push you down into a shape, a look. You're just getting a feel. Use your breath. Inhale, lengthen. That deepens the feel of the stretch. As you exhale and get closer, it deepens the feel of the stretch. So we're going for the feel. One more big breath here. And then I want you to gently walk your hands up. I want you to bring your hands behind you. It's called tenting your fingers. When your fingers are down, the palms up. My thumbs face towards the camera, towards you. Pull the elbows back, tuck your chin. You're just pushing your chest forward. And then gently release, rotate your shoulders. And then switch, rotate in. Now what we're going to do is go into a 90-90. We're going to be sideways. So you're going to keep your right leg bent in this direction, but you're going to rotate your left leg over. So in this position, nothing's touching. So don't hook your legs over like you're sitting in a dress, ladies, or dudes, I don't think you do that. All right, so here we are. Our bum may not be on the floor. If you have that flexibility, good for you. If you don't judge it. It is what it is. Doesn't have to mean anything. You're going to put your hands on each side of your right knee. You're framing your knee. What we're going to do is we're going to start walking behind us. Right? Once you're behind, you're going to put your hands down. You're going to lower yourself like you're doing a push-up. You're going to come up. You're going to walk again. Take a little step. You might not go far. You're going to lower like you're doing a push-up. You're going to come back up. And if you have room to do it again, do it again. If you're done, you're done. If you have an opportunity to lower it again, go for it. Most of us are done after 3, and we'll take it back. All right, here's your challenge. Can you switch to the other side without using your hands? And if you need to put your hands down, that's fine. But you're going to move the legs as a unit. So they both come up. They both rotate down. Now, if you couldn't do it, don't worry about it, but I do want you to work on that. That is a hip mobility that we want. Frame your left leg with your hands. So there's one hand on each knee, outside of each knee. Lengthen your spine and then walk behind you. So walk to that left hip. Once you've gone as far as your body allows, you gently lower. You press up out of that fake push-up, and then you walk around. Lower down. Now, some folks can do 2, some folks can do 3. If you've got 3, try it again. Press, find that twist, lower, come back up, hold, and then gently come back around. When you're around, we're going to try for that hip mobility. Can you go over without using your hands? And if the answer is no, put your hands behind you. But I do want you to try to lift both knees together. All right, come back together and come back, staff position. So legs long, sit up nice and tall. Now this is a part of the stretch where when we're tight, our hips, pelvis area tips back. So if you're kind of hunkered back because you're tight, you're going to put your hands behind you to get that tall lift, because we want the hips in the neutral position. Lifting up nice and tall, we're going to hinge forward, belly towards the thighs. We want that straight back. If you're tight and you're in this pelvic tilt and you come forward, all that's going to come forward is your arms and your neck, right? Your face. You're going to have this hump in your back. You do not want that. That's stretching in your thoracic, and not even a good one. All right, so lift up. Can you pull your pelvis into that neutral position, and can you tip it forward with a straight back? I'm coming back to face you. You're staying in that fold. So your lengthen is up. So some of you might look like this. Strong stretch in the back of your hamstrings. You've got the right feels. Exhale, hinge forward. If you can't hinge forward, you keep pressing yourself tall. Bend your knees if you feel this more behind the knee. If you feel it more in your calf muscle, relax your feet a little. If not, pull it in, press it down. Lengthen your spine on your inhale, deepen in your exhale. 2 more. All right, we're gonna gently come up. We're gonna take both legs long. So, out. Only out far enough that you don't feel the hips start to fire. So if I went a little wider, I'm feeling a strong pull in the muscles to hold my legs out. Same thing's gonna happen. We're gonna sit up tall. Our pelvis is neutral. If it is tipped back, you are supporting yourself into that neutral position. You have to work from a posterior pelvic tilt to neutral. If you do not have neutral, you cannot tip it forward. All right, so if you have neutral, you're trying to tip it forward. Again, I'm turning for visual ideas since I'm facing you. So if you're in this rounded position, all you can do is come forward with your upper back. This is a hip stretch. The hip stretch has to take place in the hip. If you can go into this neutral position, you're going to try to tip the belly forward. This is a really weird concept because we're used to that very up and then we're over, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's actually wonderful. But if that's all you're trying to do is to get your hand somewhere, you're missing the point. And that's what I'm talking about when I say mimicking skips understanding. If you're just mimicking a shape and you're not getting into the stretch, you are just creating a shape. You're not getting the benefit of the stretch. So we're inhale tall, we hinge, we hold it here, we use our breath to get deeper into the position. Our inhale takes us longer, our exhale takes us deeper. Our inhale takes us up, our exhale takes us deeper. Each time you get deeper, each time you lengthen, you feel more stretch in your inner thigh and your hamstring. 2 more. And if you're thinking we hold these stretches for a long time, you're correct. We do, and it's intentional. All right, we're gonna gently come up. We're gonna bring the legs back in together. And then once you're here, we're gonna go into Janu Shavasana. So we're gonna bend the right knee. We're just gonna pull it in out of the way. Now what happens a lot of times, we pull it in so far that the heel comes into your groin area. That's not the point of the move, right? Your hips are neutral now. I want you to pull this leg out of the way here. My foot is more towards my knee. My hip bones are still straight, right? When you pull the hip in, you're literally back in this position. And I don't want you in that position. I want you here with a leg out of the way. All right, now that we went over all that, we inhale, lift. You're here if you have a pelvis that tips back and a posterior pelvic tilt. If you can get neutral, you're gonna try to tip it forward. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, press the belly forward if you're in a posterior pelvic tilt, or forward towards the leg, down if you're an interior pelvic tilt or you're trying to get into your interior pelvic tilt. You feel the stretch in the back of your hamstring? That's all we're looking for. Two more. Last one. And then we're going to gently come back up and we're going to switch sides. So when you lengthen your leg, they literally are in the same space. You fold the other one out of the way. If you pull in so far and you bring your leg back, well, you're cattywampus. That's how you know. So keep the hips neutral. Press the foot into the thigh. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, hinge forward. You're only hinging forward from your hip. If you're tipped, you're trying to hinge here. If you're here, you're trying to hinge forward. Super important that you understand what you need to be doing for your hamstrings to lengthen. Your inhale takes you long, so we don't lose that elongated, decompressed spine, and our exhale takes us deeper to get the better hamstring stretch, or the deeper, or push to the edge. There's a couple different ways we'll explain this in yoga. All of them correct. Use your breath to get deeper into the pose. Gently walk ourselves back up. We're going to lean back. I'm going to put my hands flat, not tented. Bring the feet up. Bent knees, and I want you to windshield wiper side to side. Now, your feet should not be narrow, not together, right? I need them separated so you're truly getting that big movement pattern in your hip. All right, so last two, last one. And we're going to cross our ankles. We're going to come into a table. So I'm going to be sideways for most of this next section. All right, so we're going to go into some lizard poses with movement because we're just trying to prep the hip up for a bigger stretch. So here we go. Table position. Knees under the hips, hands underneath the shoulders. We're going to curl over the ball of our right foot. And then we're going to walk our hands forward, pull our core in, make space next to your right hand for your right foot. Now I am on my left side because I'm used to teaching opposites for yoga class. Your left knee stays down, drop your hip, lift your chest. If you cannot if your hips are up and you're set back, you probably need blocks. I don't have blocks out today. Short-sighted thinking here. And you want to be able to drop your hip lower than your chest. So if you have to bring your hands up to get that, you do that because this is about the hips and not about the hands, right? So when we make this about something else, we lose the stretch. Now, you can keep your foot the way it is. A lot of folks like to go diagonal and flat. I personally roll out on the outside edge of my foot. That does not work for a lot of people, so that might not be you. You're welcome to rock side and side. You're just kind of looking for that movement pattern into the muscle. And then what we're going to do is, if you can go lower, that means your hips down, your chest is higher, you're going to bring your right forearm to the floor and join with your left. If your right forearm won't make it and you're kind of dumped into your left, your opposite arm, you're not flexible enough to get down here. And I know that's a harsh thing to hear, but if you're going to rotate out of the stretch, why bother? Why bother? You are better here getting a deeper stretch than coming down here and just kind of rotating out of it. Now this is a variation for doing other things, and you do want to lighten up the pressure, but not right now. We want this stretch on the hip. I need a stretch in the hip as we get into some of our other moves. Now we're going to gently lift up. If you chose to go down, we're going to bring the leg back and we're going to sit in Vajrasana. This is your thunderbolt pose. If that doesn't work for you, stay up. Some people will go into the toe lean. If that works for you better, that's fine. I personally find this my favorite. All right, this is once I've had a couple stretches in me, this is actually a very comfortable position to sit in. Starting a class in this position for me, you know, because I'm well over 50, is a little harder. Okay, so we're gonna get to the other side. Come back to your table. We're gonna curl over the ball of our left foot, pressing our heel back. You want to stretch in your calf muscle. Watch out for pulsing. A lot of people pulse because like the more sensation means more. No, it doesn't. Actually, if you're going to push and play tug of war with your calf muscle, you're going to train the muscle to be tighter because it's going to try to protect itself from you. So we're going to take it forward. We're going to bring the left hand in a bit. Bring the left foot up next to the hand. So lift up tall. Let the hips be heavy. You got to let go. Let them sink down. We want the chest higher than the hips. We need the hips into that deep sink. Remember, if you're up on blocks, you'd be a lot higher. It makes it a little easier. And by easier, it allows the hips to have that deeper press. Because when you're in this position right here, it's more, I don't even know what it is because I don't feel a whole lot going on back there. It might be a little more hamstring, a little more back. It could be too much kneecap. Find that place. And by the way, if this is a little too much on the back knee, you can just roll up your mat, get a blanket, get a towel. Lift up tall. So, are you going to go flat diagonal? Or are you going to roll on the outside edge? I do not recommend that outside edge if it doesn't work for your ankle. I'm going to rock back and forth. I'm just going to gently move through various angles on this deep hip stretch. Just kind of prepping the hip for this next position. So, from here, if you can take your left forearm to the floor, join with your right. If you cannot, I need you to stay up. Again, this is where we try not to get our ego making our decisions, right? Our ego's like, nope, she said go down, I'm going down. Well, rolling out of the stretch is not going to get you the deeper flexibility. It's not going to get you the result you're looking for. And you're looking to increase your flexibility in your hip, or you wouldn't have chosen this video. Put your other forearm down if you can. If not, put them on blocks or stay high. Let the hips drop heavy. Lengthen through your spine. The whole point of coming down is to get into a deeper position to get a deeper stretch. And by the way, if you could come down on one side and not the other, well, that's normal too. Because often we have different histories on our body and they do not operate the same. All right, last breath here. Come on up. And then we're going to send that left leg back, sit in Vajrasana. All right, we're just going to take a moment because this next pose is frog. Frog is, or Mandukasana, is a tough pose. It is a tough pose because if you're not that flexible, you're on your knee bones, like the cap, very uncomfortable. It's probably a little too much pressure on the ankles on the floor as well. So I'm gonna give you an alternative. You can go into a happy baby, which is back here, or holding onto your ankles, or even just holding onto your knees and getting in this position and getting as wide as you can. All right. Another option is to put yourself on to a wall. I don't really have a wall, but I have a bunch of random sofas here. You would back yourself all the way up to a wall or something solid. Lie down, and you would bring your legs up wide and then as low towards the floor as you can get them to feel strong inner thigh stretch. This is another option to frog. All right, so now we're going to get into an actual frog. I'm going to go a little diagonal. Okay, so to do frog, you absolutely have to go sideways on your mat. Refusing to do that is not going to make your life easier. It's going to make it harder. So you're going to bring your knees to the side of your mat so your body is off of your mat. You're going to walk your knees wide. Once they're wide, rotate your feet out. Actually, may not be diagonal enough, so give me 1 second. All right, so walking out side to side. When you do that, walk your feet out and then relax them. You're trying to keep your hips over your knees. Do not let your hips go forward. Do not shift back. You're just going to come straight down to your forearms. You're welcome to put your forearms on blocks if you'd prefer. All right, pull the belly in. Now what you're going to do is you're going to slide both knees out wide to get into this frog position. Try not to arch your back. Pull the belly in so you're engaged. If you want to put a block under your lower rib cage, you can. Watch out for going forward and watch out for shooting back. All you're trying to do is bring yourself to a place where you can get into that restful spot in frog Mendukasana where you can let your hips just slide wide. Now, as you're in this position, it is an uncomfortable position. It is one of those poses where doing it, the act of doing it, is not so pleasant. When you're done and your hips feel amazing, that's when you learn to love this pose. So not for what it feels like, but for what it gives you. So try to find that place where you can relax. Try to find that place where you can melt into the pose. And I mean that. It takes a long time to get into this position. You have to keep trying it. If you are holding yourself tight and contracting against the stretch, you're not going to get the stretch. If you're going so far that you cannot get the stretch, then you need to back up. You can always slide forward out of the stretch, get the legs back together, and then re-enter, and don't go as wide. Because you don't want to be in a place where you're panic breathing, you know, no panic breathing. And you want to get in a place where you're freaking out, right, mentally. So this is an intense position. This is a fairly advanced position, but you can get into it. So this isn't as deep for me. I could hang out here a heck of a lot longer than where I was, but I'm going to try to press into it. Now, I do this position, so I'm in my mid-50s, and I do this position a couple times a week, at least once a week, usually a couple times a week. And as a result, I've seen the increase in flexibility over time, and it will take time. But you do need to be in that uncomfortable space where you are feeling a strong stretch. I'm not in pain. I'm not freaking out. I definitely could not fall asleep here because I'm not that pleasantly positioned, but I feel a wonderful stretch. It's very deep, and I know I'm benefiting my hips. Just breathe into it. Find that space where you can melt. When you melt, you feel like you can slide one knee wider again. Go for it. You might need to move your feet as you get deeper into it. And then we're going to take 2 more big breaths. One final big breath. And then we're all going to gently press ourselves forward onto our belly. Do not lift up. Just kind of wiggle yourself back till your legs are straight. And then I want you to lift all the way up onto your knees and find your way onto your back. I'm just going to scoop my mat back in place. So lying on your back, hug your knees into your chest. All right, give them a good squeeze. You're going to rock side to side. Don't worry about being cute coming out of those poses. You just come out safely. All right, we're going to extend our one leg long. I don't care which one it is because we're going to do both sides. And you're going to pull the other knee in towards the shoulder it belongs to. From here, take that knee into a rotation. Keep that shoulder down. Do not let it come up. Look over that extended arm. Opposite hand grabs that knee and pulls gently. Come back up to center. Switch sides. Bring in the opposite knee. Remember, it comes into the shoulder it belongs to. And then spinal twist. Come across. Keep that shoulder down as you bring the hip up and over. We're going to come back to center. Both knees come in. Give yourself a hug. You're welcome to rock yourself up or roll to your sides. Either way works. Sitting up nice and tall, hands on your knees. Let's do a little circle. And we're going to do the same thing, go in the other direction. And then hold center. Take this time right now, bringing your palms together, your thumbs to heart center, you bow your head, and give yourself a little grace, right? We're not going to be the most flexible people in the world or the room, right? And it's not the point. The point is to find the flexibility for yourself to make your body feel better, and that's all we need. That's all we need. I wish you happy hips, less back pain, and gratitude for coming to visit me with this video. Have a great day.